Let's take a look at partial fractions from Anderson Prelim 2021, Paper 2, Question 6, Part 1. Now, do remember that partial fraction, first task is to do the checklist of long division. Take a look at the fraction over there. We notice that numerator, the degree is 3, highest power of x. And denominator, do take note that 2x multiplied by x squared will also give you x power 3. Okay, the highest power for denominator is also degree 3. And since they have the same highest power over here, we need to do a long division for step number 1. Okay, now let's look at long division now. I'm going to write 4x power 3 plus 9x squared minus 17x minus 5. Take note of this one here is given in descending order, which is good. Second, also take note that there's no mixing term, okay? If not, we are going to insert the term so that it's easier for us to do a long division. Next, now let's look at the divisor over here. So I'm going to expand that 2x minus 3 and x squared plus 1. Let's multiply this out. I'll have 2x power 3 plus 2x, and this one here, minus 3x squared minus 3. When I put a divisor over here, I also want to arrange in descending order so that it's nicer for me to do long division later. So I'm going to rewrite this in descending order. Now, if you have a missing term over here, then it doesn't matter. Okay, so for here, I purely want to make sure that's in descending order for the power of x. Okay, next, let's do long division. I need a 4 here. This is a 2. So I know I will have 2 here. 2 times 2x power 3. That's going to be a 4x power 3. Now let's continue doing 2 times negative 3x squared, negative 6x squared. 2 times 2x, 4x, and 2 times negative 3, negative 6. Okay, now next line here, if you're going to write a minus sign, let's just put a bracket over here. Now let's take a look at this. This term minus is gone, so we have 9 minus 6, which is 9 plus 6. That will be a 15x squared. Negative 17 minus 4. Negative 21x, and the last one minus 5 plus 6, so that's going to be a plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the fraction quotient. I write down here, and we have the remainder at numerator. Denominator, remember this one is also equivalent to this one, that's in factorized form. I will write it in factorized form over here. Okay, so next I'm going to erase a bit of this board to focus on the partial fraction part. Alright, now let's look at partial fractions. I'm going to split it to partial fractions. So notice that this is distinct linear factor. So I'm going to put it as 2x minus 3. The other fraction, make sure this is an irreducible quadratic, meaning you can't factorize any further. So this one is a quadratic, irreducible. So I'm going to put numerator here. If this is linear, we're going to put a, and since this is a quadratic, I'm going to do bx plus c. Okay, next step, we're going to multiply both sides by LCM of the denominator, which is these two brackets over here. So left hand side, when you multiply these two, the denominator is gone, so left with the numerator. For the right hand side, for a, to do it quickly, this one has a 2 bracket. You multiply, the 2x minus 3 get cancelled. So you're left with this bracket over here, which is x squared plus 1. And for this one here, remember to open and close the bracket for bx plus c. These 2 brackets, take away x squared plus 1, so covered, you're left with 2x plus 3 over here. Sorry, 2x minus 3. Okay, next. I'm going to mix and match the method, okay? So you have a method of substitution and also polynomial identity. I'm going to mix and match to let you see that you can solve this faster. So let's take a look at this one here. I'm going to cancel this one by inserting x as 3 over 2. First one, I'm going to use substitution. Now let's plug in 3 over 2 to the left-hand side. And 3 over 2 to the right-hand side as well. So I have 3 over 2 squared plus 1. I'm going to give it a square bracket. And since I'm going to insert 3 over 2 here, this whole term is going to be 0. So I do not have to write the rest here. Next, I'm going to press my calculator. For this one here on the left, I will be getting 3.25. And for this bracket beside A, I will also get 3.25. Now I know that A value is 1. Okay, so I know this is 1. So 1 times x squared plus 1 is still x squared plus 1. So next step, what we're going to do is, I'm going to find out what B and C is, okay, without doing substitution. I'm going to use polynomial identity. Alright, now let's take a look. If I need B, let me link it to x squared term. So that's going to be a 2b x squared. Now remember this is a 1, so 1 times x squared is still x squared. Now I'm going to compare it to this on the left, okay? So the next one here, instead of using substitution, I'm going to using compare like terms, okay? Now I have 15 on the left, which is equal to, I'm going to take the coefficient, which is 1. The number is 1, this one is 2b. So I know that 14 is equals to 2b. So B must be 7. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time, but this time, let me take a look at the C that I want here. Okay, I'm going to link C to constant, so I get a negative 3C. Okay, so this term over here only have the constant negative 3C, but this one here, I have a 1 times 1, which is a 1 over here for constant term. Comparing to the left-hand side constant term, there's a 1 there, so let me work out over here. Left-hand side is 1. Right-hand side, this constant term give me 1. This constant term give me a negative 3c. So I have 3c equals to 0. So c value must be 0 as well. Okay, so that's a quick way to get an ABC. Now, of course, if you think linking this is a bit hard for you to see, now let me show you also. I'm going to erase this part here. For student that has problem linking, you can do this way, okay? You can expand all of them if that's easier for you to see. So let me just show you over here. Okay, so we know that A is already 1. So when you expand this one here, what you get is x squared plus 1. And what you're going to do is you expand like what you normally do this way, okay? So what you have here is 2b x squared and multiply over is minus 3bx. Multiply over here, positive 2cx. Last one, minus 3c. Okay, so I'm doing compare like terms of x squared term. I underline x squared term is this one here and also this one here, which I took out the coefficient over here. And for constant, which is this one here and also this one here. Okay, of course, I did not compare the x term, which you can do over here to check your answer later on. Okay, so this is a partial fraction. Remember, we're not done yet. We still have one last step. So let me erase this one over here. I do want to remember that my A value is 1. So last step, let me make a conclusion. Express that as partial fractions. What I do want you to remember is that you did a long division at your first step. That quotient 2, you write it back. Next, followed by this one here. A is 1, so I'm going to write plus 1 over 2x minus 3. And I'm going to insert C and B in here. So C is 0, so I left with this term here. So B takes 7. So I'll have plus 7x over x squared plus 1. Okay? So this is my final answer for my partial fractions questions.